The first thing, of course, is you'll be earning them dollar bills, but make sure you know exactly how much you're earning, and that will definitely be on your offer letter. Hi and welcome back to my channel, Savor the Moment. So today we're going to be discussing the H2B visa program, what it is, the process, what will happen with your recruiting agent, and just general what to expect kind of tips and tricks. And yeah, just so that you're prepared. So what will generally happen is, of course, like any job, you will go for an interview and you have to apply. So in most cases with recruiting agencies, you'll probably be able to apply via their websites. Of course, everyone's different. You may have to send it through to an email address, but nonetheless, make sure that your CV stands out. And for those of you that might not have a hell of a lot of work experience, that doesn't really tend to matter too much. And I'll explain a little bit more why later in this video. So if you need a place to sort of have a great template, free templates, definitely have a look at canva.com. I've used it, we use it a lot. It's a great place to get some really quirky type of templates for your CV, and it gives you a nice idea of how you can just add a bit of flavor. What I do want to say is, if you have friends and family that are supporting you through this process, let them review your CV, give you constructive criticism so that you can put your best foot forward. So moving on from that, what will then happen is you will have most likely an interview with a recruiting agency. They will obviously ask you a bunch of different questions. I did mine a very long time ago, so I'm sure it will be completely different now. But just prepare for the general type of interview questions and just come with a great attitude. More than anything, they just want to see that you're eager, that you're malleable, you can learn, and that you're really ready for an exciting adventure. Secondly, what will then happen? If you have sort of passed the initial round of your interview stages, you will then obviously have an interview with the country club. So this obviously may differ from different recruiting agents, and in this case we're obviously speaking about going to country clubs. So generally what happened in the past is the country club food and beverage managers or general managers will come to South Africa and come and interview you guys. And now, of course, with the way the world has gone, these interviews are virtual. So once you have passed that round, and that's always the most daunting rounds to get through, mainly because there's a lot of people that are also applying, and yeah, you kind of have to fight your way to the top and be seen in the right way. So once you have passed your last round of interviews and you have been offered a job, make sure that you get your offer letter that is signed, that your name and details are correct, and of course that it has all the necessary information needed for you to be able to apply for your visa. So what generally happens with recruiting companies is they will of course take you through the entire process. In most cases they'll host presentations, Q&A sessions, so that if you have any concerns or questions or things that just might not seem clear, they will definitely be able to clear that up. And if they don't host those kind of presentations, definitely ask, just so that you're clear on exactly what the next steps are. So in the past, what I had gone through is we needed to do a police clearance certificate as well as a medical. Now, just to give you a little bit of insight, if you're coming from South Africa and you're doing a police clearance certificate, do it as soon as you've been notified. The reason why is because it takes 6 to 8 weeks for it to come through, which is quite long. I had the experience where I thought I was being very proactive, went ahead and got it done, and it actually never came back. That was obviously for a different job that I was doing, but when I had applied through Workaway, of course, luckily back then it actually came back. But just make sure that you are giving the right details, that you have everything, and I will actually give you a link in the description below of the different documents you need when you do your police clearance certificate. Of course, the recruiting agency will also probably give you that information as well, and I would recommend that you follow them, but just in case you don't have enough information, I will give you some details as well. The other thing that you will most likely have to do is a medical. Now, different recruiting companies that recruit for different kind of jobs obviously have different requirements, but with regards to doing the H2B visa program, in most cases you'll do quite a general medical. They'll do like a pregnancy test, a making sure that you're not on any drugs test, and in most cases, well, when I had done it, we did a TB x-ray. So yeah, just make sure that if your recruiting agency doesn't cover that cost, that you have the money and you know exactly what you need to spend up front, just so that you can start saving, of course, and you know exactly what you're in for. What I do want to make mention of is recruiting agencies that recruit for the H2B visa program are not allowed to ask for a recruiting fee from you. That rule has been done away with. So if you have a recruiting agency that's asking you for like a ton of money up front, please make sure that you're checking the rules and regulations around that, because in most cases that might be a scam. So what I do want to say is always be careful, just fact check everything. You don't want to lose money unnecessarily. We all work hard for what we earn, so just make sure that you're covering your basis with regards to that. And then last but not least, the other big requirement that they will make you do, of course, is to do your visas. So we obviously have 3 main branches in South Africa. That's Durban, in Cape Town, and in Johannesburg. Those are the US consulates, and that's where you will need to go depending on where you are in the country to apply for your visa. So what will generally happen is you will have to do a very long, lengthy online application before you can even step foot in the US embassy. What I do want to say is make sure that you have all of the documentation that you need before you start with the application process. What I do want to say as well is make sure you start as soon as humanly possible, simply because it takes quite a long time to get through the application process, and because we are in the time of our lives that we are, appointments might be a little bit tricky to get to, so getting them as soon as possible so that you can get the soonest available appointment is obviously the most ideal in this case. So the one little tip and trick I will be sharing with you, because let me tell you, my first interview at all of 19 years old, I thought I knew exactly what kind of passport or visa picture I needed, ended up at the embassy with the wrong picture. They will not let you into the embassy if you do not have the correct documentation. I had to run across the road, find a shop that printed the right kind of visas. I was a wreck. By the time I got into the US embassy, I was finished, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to ruin my chances. I'm also quite panicky, guys, so that made me very, very nervous. But what I do want to say is be as prepared as possible. In the link in the description below, we will give you a US government link that will help you test and make sure that you have the right visa picture. And if you've gone to like a postnet or a place that takes your pick for visas, you can obviously give them the guideline and tell them you need to do a US visa picture. They will sort of give you an outline of what you need to do, how you need to stand, which is great. But just so that you're going and you know exactly what it is you need, just so that there's no mistakes. And when you get to the US consulate, you don't have to run and go get new pictures taken like I did, okay? So that will be in the description below. Definitely check it out. It also helps you understand how they want you to be postured. They don't want hair in your face like I have right now. Your ears must be exposed. So of course they just want you to be looking as natural as possible for your US picture. Okay guys, so the next thing that we'll be discussing is sort of what to expect from the recruiting agency or from your employer. So when it comes to the H2B visa program, any and all documentation that you receive, just make sure that you're sort of getting the right boxes ticked so that you know what to expect, what you're getting as a job offer, how much you're earning, etc, etc. So the first thing, of course, is you'll be earning them dollar bills. But make sure you know exactly how much you're earning, and that will definitely be on your offer letter. If there is any questions about that, definitely ask your recruiting agency just to help clarify if there are any issues with that. The other thing that they will do for you, which is quite cool, is when you get to the US, they will help you with something called a social security number. So for those of you that might not know what that is, it's pretty much like an ID number. It helps you open up bank accounts. It's just more or less your tracking code, okay? Do not lose it. I lost mine, so I'm a little bit buggered, but when I get back to the US, I'll obviously just have to reapply for it. I do have the number, fortunately, so hopefully that process will be a little bit quicker. Okay, so the other thing that they will also do for you, which is really cool, is bank accounts. So of course, when you get stateside, they will assist you based on their recommended bank account that they can do for you and open for you and get paid into. So that's also really cool. And something I also forgot to mention, guys, is in most cases working for H2B visa programs, you get paid twice a month, which is nice. Don't spend it all at once though. It's very tempting, I must be honest, but at least you know that you're paid bi-weekly and they're super good with that usually. So if you do have any issues with that, of course, get in touch with your recruiting agency or with a country club. So of course, what else they cover for you and help you with is housing. So when I say housing, I don't mean you're going to get a big old house all to yourself. In most cases, you will be sharing. So get used to the idea that you'll be sharing with a housemate or a flatmate or a few flatmates. Sometimes you'll share a room. Sometimes you'll share apartments. If you're lucky enough to get your own room, of course, let us know in the comment section how many times you've had to share. But what's really important to know here is to go with an open mind and to make sure that this shouldn't be like a no bueno for you. If you're going to have an experience of a lifetime, sharing with somebody is probably going to add to that enriching experience. It could be challenging also, but don't let that be the biggest bummer for you. I worked on the ships and I had to share a tiny cabin. Guys, when I say tiny, I'm not even kidding. It was a bunk bed, singles, with one tiny bathroom. So you kind of get used to the things that come with the job description, okay? So don't be too panicky about that. And what's really cool is if you do not want to take the housing offered, of course, you can go out into the big world and look for your own accommodation. What I do want to say to you is that that could be more expensive. And with that means that sometimes you might not be able to kind of carpool in with the company transport. So you'll lose a couple of benefits if you go out on your own. However, if you're sort of getting there and you earn enough money and you get your own car, it kind of doesn't matter at the end of the day. However, I just want you guys to know that that is an option that they provide you with. You obviously pay it bi-weekly with your paycheck. It is really affordable in comparison to what you can pay for housing costing. So definitely just say thank you for that gift and yeah, move on from that. So the other thing that they also offer is transportation. So this isn't always the case, but in a lot of cases, the country clubs will definitely have transport to and from work, and that will obviously be on a rotating shift process. If you're at a small country club, it's slightly different. How they manage it, because there's a lot less of you, will be different. But if there's more of you, they'll tend to have like a shuttle that they have back and forth from your company accommodation and to work. What I do want to say is, guys, we are in the age of Uber, and although Uber might not be the most economic option, if you're late for work, that will be your friend. So definitely download an Uber app if you haven't already. And I'm sure that when you get stateside, there might be some other options that you can use as well. But definitely always make sure that you're getting to work on time, or at least making sure you're arriving to the shuttle on time, because they will leave you. Okay? I've been there before, so I know. What else that they offer? Sure, it's actually amazing. So there's more. They also help with your uniforms, which is fantastic. In some cases, they might say to you guys, bring your own black pants or khaki pants and comfy shoes. Now, when I say comfy shoes, guys, you're going to be on your feet for many hours. The last thing you want is to get bunions because your shoes kill you. So make sure you're getting obviously shoes that are within the company colors, within their specs, but definitely are good for your feet. We ain't out here trying to be the most trendy, so get the most comfy, okay? That is the best recommendation I can say, because when you're on your feet for a few hours and your shoes really hurt you, there is nothing worse than that feeling. So definitely be doing that and save up for a good pair. The other thing that they also kind of offer you guys and us is in most cases you'll get a meal per shift, which is really nice. So that kind of helps bring down your grocery costs. Although what I do want to say is the first time you get to a grocery store in the US, you'll probably want to buy everything in sight. And my biggest advice to you is do it. Try it, taste it, hate it, love it, chuck it, whatever. There are so many incredible options when you go shopping. My first shopping experience, I literally ended up in a grocery store for 4 hours because there was just so many options. There were so many things. I didn't know what to choose. I had to read every label just because I'm that kind of person. But it was so much fun, and definitely, definitely look at that, you guys, for, just as an experience. It's something different. Don't be fooled by the $1 thing. Trust me, $1 account to a lot at the end of the day. So don't be too trigger happy. The other thing that is also supplied by the company and recruiting companies, and they will assist, of course, is your flights. So what I do want to definitely make mention of, guys, is every recruiting company, and I'm going to say this a few times, every recruiting company has a different offering, a different regulation, a different rule. So please make sure that you are well aware up front about what your cost is going to be and what you need to invest. And I say invest because this really is something you're investing into your future and into your experience and what they are covering and what the T's and C's are. It's always good to know these things up front, especially if you're having maybe family members helping you. I mean, if you're doing it on your own, amazing as well, but it's just good to know where you stand, what you need to save for, and what your costs are going to be. The other thing is, take dollars, physical dollars with you. So the one thing that you kind of don't realize is when you arrive in the US, you're kind of only going to be paid in some cases only 2 weeks or 3 weeks after you've arrived, simply just because of how everything sort of rolls when you get there. So you're definitely going to need some cruising around money. Of course, for most of us, we'll have bank accounts, South African bank accounts, and I will do a video for you guys on what to do, what to prepare for, what to pack, what not to pack, the works. And just how to be prepared for leaving South Africa and the sort of boxes you need to tick, as well as what you need to just sort of be aware of when you get stateside. So definitely have some cash on you, so definitely save. I keep saying definitely, sorry guys. But please save some money so that you can have cash and you're not feeling a bit too stressed about that when you get to the US. Because as much as you're getting there to work hard and earn those dollars, you also want to enjoy yourself for the first few weeks that you're there. The first week you arrive will be the easiest week of your entire contract. And I will explain why in my next video, but definitely have cash, okay? Great. So now we can move on from that. Last but not least, guys, remember, you are going to a foreign country that has its own rules, its own regulations. You also working for a foreign company and they have their own rules and regulations. So guys, be mindful, be respectful. If you are driving, definitely stick to the rules of the road, okay? They are so much more strict than they are here in South Africa. And just make sure that you're covering your bases. You know, when you understand what the rules and regulations are, it's less likely you'll run into trouble, okay? Drinking and driving is an absolute no-no. Rather get yourself an Uber or walk home. It's safe enough. So there are obviously a number of different things that you just really need to make sure that you are aware of, that especially when it comes to your employer as well. If they are saying it's a strictly no drug environment, make sure you are not getting into trouble, okay? Because they do test you when you arrive, and they will host very random drug tests during your contract. So just be aware of that, guys. You're going for an incredible experience. You're investing your time, the country club's time, the recruiting agency's time into getting you into a different country. So just be very grateful for that, because there are only so many people. There's such a small percentage of people in the world that have those kind of opportunities. So don't screw it up is what I'm trying to say. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share with anybody that would like to know more about the H2B visa program. And I would love to hear from you guys in the comments below what your experiences were. And if there's anything else you can add to this video, I would love to hear from you, and we'll chat soon.